What is up, everybody, and welcome to the NFL Showdown pre-lock show. I'm your host, HeadChopper, taking you through for about 30 minutes here on this wonderful Monday night. Joined today by these men pulling double duty, guys. Pulling double duty, producing and starring as the talent on the show, TJ Zwarych. Is that correct, Zwarych?
Nailed it.
All right. How you doing, man?
Doing well. Had a busy day today, but we got a fun Monday night football game. Should be a good game. Tampa against the Chiefs. Even though it's a pretty big spread, I think Tampa has a pretty good shot of keeping this one somewhat close. So looking forward to diving into this one, and it felt pretty straightforward until we got that McMillan news about a half hour ago.
It's always something with the NFL. Chiefs are favored by 9 and 45.5. It's a big number. Don't know if you know how many guys out there don't actually kind of follow week to week. If it's not your home team or your favorite team, if you really truly dig into these teams, man, if you haven't watched KC this year, over the last couple of years, they've been trending in this direction, but they're a boring team. They're no longer that Tyreek Hill fun and gun, throw the ball downfield. They've adjusted to what they have on their roster. They make it work, and they win games. And they can be boring sometimes. 9 feels like a big number. But then again, like you said, Tampa really distraught at certain positions now with the injury bug. Let's talk about that for a minute. Right before, we get the inactives report. And we get Jalen McMillan out tonight. Chris Godwin's out for the rest of the year. Mike Evans is out for an extended period of time. They were already like scraping the bottom of the barrel for wide receivers here, pass catchers. Now McMillan's out. How does that change things for you?
It really makes it so you can kind of do whatever the heck you want with your lineup, because we got so many guys now who are cheap, who are very reasonable to throw in lineups with basically any Tampa Bay receiver. Shepard, Palmer, Miller, Raheem Jarrett. It kind of makes it so you can do anything you want with your lineups. I have one of my 3 lineups right now. I'm running 3 tonight. That's the plan. And one of the 3 is a Raheem Jarrett MVP or captain lineup on DraftKings. So I think there's a lot of different ways we can go with this.
Yeah, it really truly is weird. It's a 9-point spread. They're underdogs. Like everything about this says they are going to be playing catch up. How, and these guys are all so cheap, and somebody's going to be the focal point here. Somebody's going to get yards, probably get in the end zone at a cheap price. That's going to be your GPP winning captain, perhaps. So I don't know if you're taking a stab on that, but we flip over to the Chiefs side. Some of the guys we knew were out are out, and Juju hit the inactive list, so that probably helps some of those guys in there. Xavier Worthy's been stepping up a little bit lately. Travis Kelce, what an off year this year up until last week. He really kind of turned it back last week, turned back the hands of the clock a little bit, and so he's got that going for him. New acquisition. Last week they worked him in. This week Coach Speak says DeAndre Hopkins is going to be a little bit bigger part of the passing game, or a little bit bigger role. I don't know if that means anything. Do you listen to the coach speak on something like that?
A little bit. And when it fits what to me feels logical, then I buy into it more. And they acquired Hopkins for a reason. They want him to be the number 1 guy, at least until they're fully healthy. And so it makes sense to me that he would be much more involved going into this week.
Fair enough. Guys, fire up those questions. That's what we're all about. At some point here, we're going to walk through, I don't know, maybe we'll either make a lineup or we'll do some SimLabs, probably a SimLabs, and just play around with it a little bit.
Did you play in the NBA tonight?
Please don't tell me there's something I got to adjust right now.
I'm going to try and hand adjust right now because Quetta is starting over Luke Cornett today.
That'll. Let me see here. I'll see where we're at with that. What time does that game start?
6:45 my time, 7:45 Eastern.
So 6:45. So we got About 20-something minutes. Okay. You know what? 6:45. Can we get out of here in 18 minutes? Maybe we can get out of here in 18 minutes and do it. I don't know. But again, fire off those questions, and we'll figure out what's going on here with the NBA. Maybe, and we'll give you the Plums play of the night here. Derek, I see you in chat. Favorite captain on DK for single entry, TJ?
My favorite captain is Cade Otton. This is a guy that we've already seen be incredibly involved early, like without without Evans and Godwin. Getting a little distracted by the NBA stuff. Without Godwins and Evans, we've seen Otton be super duper involved. And now there's no McMillan, who's been drawing 6, 7, 8 targets a game in that period as well. So Otton, I think, is just going to be getting absolutely peppered tonight. And I think he's going to be going lower owned in that captain position as well. I think people are going to kind of forget about him. He's maybe overpriced a little bit, and we're currently only projecting him for 5% in the captain position. I think he makes for a great, great tournament play there. If I'm going optimally, I guess it's Patrick Mahomes, according to the projections. I don't like that, if I'm being honest. I would rather go Baker Mayfield because I think they're going to be playing from behind. I would rather go to one of his cheap pass catchers and load up on the expensive guys in the flex. So conventional wisdom projections say if you're playing optimally, doing something cash or single entry, you want Mahomes there. I don't like it. I like going Mayfield or one of his pass catchers, Otton being my favorite.
I'll kind of just piggyback off of that. There could be a Rachaad White game, pass catching. Like, he's a pass catcher. They need him desperately. Or any of those cheap guys could work out. One of them is probably going to work out. But that leads to the next question from Jeff.
I hope that it works out, because as soon as I saw the McMillan news, I was able to get on the one betting site I have access to here in Saskatchewan, Canada, and load up. I deposited an extra $500 and loaded up on this game on Rachaad White over receiving yards and alt lines, Bucky Irving over receiving yards and alt lines, Otton the same, Sterling Shepard the same, Trey Palmer the same. And so I'm hoping this just ends up being a big day.
It's got to be. I mean, well, it doesn't have to be. Things happen, but it certainly feels like it. I don't have access to all that stuff. I wish I did, because I'm thinking the same thing. But of all the cheap Tampa wide receivers, Jeff wants to know, who is your favorite? Cheap ones, the cheaper guys.
That's the question, isn't it? I really don't know at this point. I think my least favorite, which probably means he's going to have the biggest day, is Trey Palmer of the group. I think I trust Sterling Shepard a little bit more, but he also is dealing with that hamstring issue. I think I probably like going to Ryan Miller as my favorite option of the bunch. $1,000, drew 5 targets last week. Now McMillan is out. I think Ryan Miller is going to be my favorite option at 1K flat of all these guys. Otton is my favorite, but he's not cheap. And so Ryan Miller is probably my favorite of the group.
Ryan Miller's interesting. Raheem Jarrett's interesting. I'm familiar with his game from college. I know what he does. He's kind of like one of those, he's a screen merchant kind of guy, you know, and that worries me that they also have all those running backs like you talked about. They kind of catch the passes in the same area. So what is this? I'm a little worried, right? Trey Palmer, we've seen him have some big days in the pros, and not a lot of these guys can say they've got that experience. So it's interesting, but I can definitely get behind $1,000 guy right there. You just never know. So Hunt, Odden, or Kelsey in the flex. Pick one.
Otton. If I were playing 150 lineups, I would have Otton in 150 of them in some capacity.
Fair enough. Do we have an update on SimLabs yet? Do you have access
We sure
to
do.
that? Can we pull it up and see what we're working with here tonight?
All right.
And while you guys fire off some more questions, get them in chat. We'll answer them all. We're gonna play around with some SimLabs now and see what we can get going here. All right, what are we seeing here now? Anything on the front page there? Does it stand out to you? Anything on there that stand out to you?
Cade Otton, to me, we are severely under projecting him. And not just we, but across the industry. Like, I think Cade Otton should be projected for 10 plus targets and 80 yards today. And so with that being said, the fact that we're already seeing positive leverage on that main page, optimal rate 6.3%, ownership 4% in the captain position. Maybe I'll refresh here because last I saw it was up to about 5. But the fact that we're still getting positive leverage with him at the captain position, yeah, still positive, but even with it's up to 5, I like that a lot. And the other place we're seeing some positive leverage is with cheaper options. Rachaad White, who on DraftKings looks like an even better option than FanDuel. He's going to catch a bunch of passes, probably only going to run the ball like a maximum of 10 times, but he's going to catch a bunch of passes. Sterling Shepard's seen a little bit of positive leverage. And I don't think it's crazy to go Raheem Jarrett or Tim Miller or Ryan Miller, sorry, in the captain position today either. We're projecting them with only like 0.3 for Miller, and then where is Jarrett here? I thought I saw him a little bit higher. Only 0.6% for him, but I still think they're viable, if I'm being honest. I think Tampa's going to be playing from behind. Baker might have to throw the ball 40 plus times. Somebody's got to catch these passes.
Yeah. So night like tonight, value is just out there everywhere. There's not like you said, salary cap doesn't matter a lot. There's a lot of correlations you could do in your lineup. If you've got Baker and captain, you could stack him with 3 pass catchers. They're all cheap. All these cheap. When you go to the rules here, the settings, are you changing anything? What's your favorite thing to change on a night like tonight?
So I do wish on SimLabs I could do something like I had a little bit more free range with the rules like I do in Lineup HQ, where I wish I could go lock button, Cade Otton flex, or Cade Otton MV captain. But what we still can do here is make sure we just have Otton in the flex, build a certain amount of lineups, get all of our Cade Otton flex lineups in, and then do another build afterwards with him locked at the MVP or at the captain, sorry. But that is how I'd want to do it. I'd still go large field because on these showdown stuffs, the most fun. I do think there actually is a bigger edge than people realize in just trying to play cash in a showdown, because people just play tournament lineups in it, and it is pretty darn easy to beat half the field in showdown if that's all you're trying to do. But large field is the most fun stuff. There's always big prize pools up top. So I think we still want to go in the high results range, maybe bring it down a little bit. Naturally got it to 69%. Nice. And keep it somewhere around there.
Let's run a batch. Okay, let me ask you this. Will you ever, like you love Cade Otton, will you ever just lock Otton captain and run a batch of lineups? Or you just let me just trust the SimLabs to do what it does?
That's what I think I would do here is I would go maybe my first batch, lock him in the flex position. Say if I'm playing 150 lineups and I want 25 Cade Otton captains and 125 with him in the flex, I would get these 125 first with him in the flex, and then do a whole nother batch with that same process, but him locked in at the captain position instead of at the flex.
Tell you what, let's run 150, see what the exposures look like, and walk us through it for a minute. I'm gonna make a little switch here on the NBA.
That's what I've been trying to do. I was trying to do as many as I could. Basically,
I'll cover you after you cover me.
Going through and basically saying, hey, can I find enough Cornet lineups here that I can just switch to Queta? But when we go to the exposures here, let's see what we end up having for captain. It does shoot us an absolute ton of Mahomes. I just don't like it today, if I'm being honest. We're projecting him at a little under-owned. I know Tampa Bay is a pass funnel, but I think we're expecting them to play from the lead with the lead. And like we talked about, they've been boring and they've been slow. And so I think we're still going to see a fairly run-heavy game plan. And I think I would want to be underweight on the Patrick Mahomes at captain. I don't think we'll get that naturally. So I think what I would want to do here is run another batch, but I'm going to go to exclude, and I'm going to go exclude Patrick Mahomes at the captain position. I still want to play him in the flex. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to full fade Patrick Mahomes today. If we're playing some of these cheap players at the captain, we have the salary to play Mahomes, and I still want to, but I don't want to play him at the captain at all today. I want to play Tampa Bay players, Baker Mayfield or his pass catchers at the captain. So let's walk Cade at the tight end. At the flex position, we're going to exclude Patrick Mahomes at the captain position. Run 150. See what we get. Just completed here and go to exposures. A lot of Travis Kelce it's giving us, which again, that still doesn't quite meet what I'm looking to get to today. I want more of these Tampa players, but I do like the idea of being overweight of Kelce at the captain. I also want to be overweight to DeAndre Hopkins at the captain today because he's quite cheap, and we talked about liking him quite a bit and wanting to get overweight because he's going to be more involved. It makes sense. He should be more involved. Plus, you got the coach speak going on it as well. And so I want to bump up the DeAndre Hopkins a little bit, bump down the Travis Kelce quite a bit. We'll still be over the field if we bump this down. I do want to get up over on Baker Mayfield. I love getting to him at the captain today. Xavier Worthy, I don't think I need any of him at the captain. I'm just going to X that one completely. He's not somebody I'm looking to play at the captain position today. I like the Rashad White, the Kareem Hunt, but I'd want to boost up the Bucky Irving, get a little bit more there. I'd want to boost up the Trey Palmer. I'd want to boost up the Raheem Jarrett. And I'd rather do that than the Kansas City defense. I'd rather do that than Noah Gray. We don't need any Noah Gray. I'd want some more Sterling Shepard at the captain. Anyone who is a pass catcher for either of these teams, really, but mostly for Tampa Bay, I'm interested in being overweight too at the captain position.
Fair enough. All right. Go make you some swaps. Let me take over here for a second. Let me answer some questions in chat here. I got all my Cornet out of there just about. I got like 1, 2, 3 lineups left. That's just the way the cookies crumble. All right. DK GPP's Brian. DK GPP over or under on Rashad White? I'm going to say that's a good one. Man, that is a good question. I'm going to say probably slightly overweight on Rashad White. I do like him as a pass catcher. That seems to be a natural position for him. He's a better pass catcher than he is a runner. And they really need those pass catching chops tonight, if you will. So I'd say probably overweight on Rashad White for me. For value, Palmer or Gray? Oh, definitely Palmer. We know what we have in Noah Gray. Like, you just know what you got. He's a backup tight end who's going to see the field in a lot of personnel looks, but there's such a capped ceiling on him. Whereas Trey Palmer has played in the league before, gotten times to shine before, and he's put up big numbers before. It's been rare, but he's done it. And there's down so many passes. The upside play is Palmer for sure. So give me Palmer right there. Favorite FanDuel MVP in large field. That's a good one. Large field. So
Auden. I think Auden.
I think Auden is a really good one because the quarterbacks are always going to be popular. You said large field. That makes all the difference in the world. Like in a vacuum, of course, Patrick Mahomes, man. Hey, that's easy, but everybody says that. So he's going to be super popular. So, yeah, I'm scratch off the QBs.
I think you can still do Baker. I think Baker is enough.
Baker, okay. I would agree with that. But I'd say one of these two tight ends makes for a really good, shrewd FanDuel because they're both tight end catchers. I mean, they're both touchdown catchers when they're on their game. And that's the way it falls for you tonight, then, hey, man, you get some touchdowns and some yardage from those guys. I like your take on Miller, TJ. What are your thoughts on a Jared captain? You kind of already hit on some of that.
One of my 3 lineups right now is a Jarrett captain. I have one as a Baker captain, one as a Jarrett captain, and I don't have the third one made yet, but it will be an Auden captain.
Carolina guy, FanDuel guy here. He loves this FanDuel. So the favorite MVP on large field, we just kind of hinted at that a little bit. For your value pick in GPPs on FanDuel, that's a good one. Man, I would say for a value pick, you are definitely looking for a Tampa pass catcher in the cheaper range. For me, maybe it is these guys we're talking about on DraftKings, the Raheem Jarrett's and Ryan Miller's. These guys are going to go they're popular on DraftKings relative to everything because you need that savings. On FanDuel, you don't need stuff like that. So those guys are not going to be popular. So in a large field, try to take a shot on one of those guys. Take a shot on a Raheem Jarrett, man, to one of these guys to find the end zone once, maybe on a long touchdown, and that wins you a large field GPP as a value play. Just my opinion that while we're looking at DraftKings almost 80% here, and they jump off to you because of the salary cap over there, people don't need to play them. So while they'll go under owned and they still have the potential. So that's where I would go with it. Tyler says Jarrett at captain, his last man in with all this salary left. Do you want White or do you want Hunt?
Go White because I have Hunt, and that way we won't dupe each other.
That's fair enough. It's a little hedge. Somebody's got to win in that case, and it's always good. But Jim says Kelsey, Hunt, Chiefs defense, and Mahomes for captain on DK ? I guess he's saying, what do you think about that KC onslaught on DK?
It's viable strategy, absolutely. Your lineups will kind of correlate with each other. You'll go all or nothing. You're going to have a big day or you're going to have a bad day. I'm on the other side of it. I think even if the Chiefs are controlling this game, it means Tampa Bay is going to have to be throwing it a ton. And that's what I want to see with all these cheap receivers. It really won't take much for them to get optimal. If one of them has 5 catches for 50 yards, that probably lands them in the optimal lineup at those cheap price tags. So you can absolutely do it because you're saying captain. You're not saying that you're going to be trying to full fade any Tampa Bay offenses by any means. So I think it's fully reasonable, but I like the Tampa guys at the captain spots better.
So his question kind of leads me to another question I wanted to ask you, which is he brings up Kareem Hunt. Now, Kareem Hunt's had a resurgence here. He was off the streets and they signed him after the Pacheco injury. He stepped in. The other guys were just total air balls. He stepped in and he's had some really good games. Do you expect it to continue tonight? At some point, my narrative in my head is telling me he's old, man. At some point, he's going to fall off and this might be the game. And he's getting a pretty decent amount of ownership here. What's your take on Kareem Hunt tonight?
I think just because of the big spread, he is very viable. Tampa's quite good against the run. They got Vita Vea in the inside. We usually like passing on them more than running on them. But if we're thinking that the Chiefs are going to be playing with a touchdown to 2-touchdown lead the whole game, that probably means they will at least be trying to utilize Hunt. So he's going to get the touches. Anytime a running back's going to get 20 plus touches, I think you got to consider him. So I don't think there's a lot of speed and talent left in those legs, but all you got to really be is competent when your quarterback is Patrick Mahomes and the defense is focusing on him and you're getting the ball 20 times a game.
Yeah. Maryan Yeezy, a friend of the chat, says he needs our takes on DeAndre Hopkins. I'll start with you. What's your take on DeAndre Hopkins?
Love DeAndre Hopkins today. He is my favorite Chiefs pass catcher. I am getting to a decent amount to Kelsey just because I'm playing some cheap captains and I need to spend in my lineups. But from a point per dollar standpoint, I like Hopkins better. I bet on Hopkins to have over his receiving yard total. I wrote him up today in my Prize Picks article to have more than his receiving yard total. I like him a lot.
I agree. Not just tonight. I'm bullish on him long term, but I like him tonight too. Mahomes is he's desperate, man. Desperate for a wide receiver right now. What Rashee Rice done for the year, and Kelsey's kind of hit some snags these last couple of years, and Worthy is. I'm not writing Xavier Worthy off already, but he is a certain type of receiver, and it's not a possession receiver. He needs that possession receiver. I'm really bullish on Hopkins long term, and I think he gets some things going tonight. Mr. Irrelevant question: odd net captain with Jared in flex, or Palmer in captain with Odin in flex. It is a large field.
I would rather go Otton at captain at Jared at flex.
I agree, just because between Jarrett and Palmer, I kind of don't know what's what right there. Who knows how that, but I know what I'm getting at. least I think I know what I'm getting out of Auden, and I think it's a really good game. So let's hope so. Considering fading Kelsey in favor of Hopkins, Kelsey was awful. Shannon, that's not a terrible idea at all. I'm looking at the ownerships on Kelsey. They're pretty high. Ownerships on Hopkins a tad bit lower for the most part, but who knows how that's going to play out. I don't mind that at all. I think Hopkins probably has a little bit more left in him physically, and who knows what that chemistry is starting to build like in practice with Mahomes. If there's some chemistry there, it's over, man. You never know. So will Travis Kelce spike the ball like Jason spiked that phone? Did you see that footage? Jason Kelce?
I did.
Hey, man, you can't run up on a man talking about his family like that. I don't know.
People are too comfortable in the social media world.
They really are, man.
Yeah, F around, you find out.
Yeah, they really are. All right. FanDuel GPP, Worthy or D-Hop as his last piece in flex?
D-Hop.
Yeah, I agree. FanDuel especially. That's a touchdown guy right there, man, if there ever was one. So we only got about 2 minutes left or so. Fire off some more questions if you got them. In the meantime, I'm gonna start off with TJ for his fill it in the plums, play of the night, and see where he's gonna take us. Take it away.
It should be obvious, I've been hyping him up the whole time, and it's K. Dotton. I absolutely love him today. I'm betting on him on not just to go over his receiving yard total, but over all of his alt receiving yard totals. I got him laddered from 50 all the way up to 90 today. He's going to be in all three of my lineups on DraftKings, but he would be in every lineup I played, even if I was running 150, either at the captain or at the flex. Same thing on FanDuel, either at the flex or at the MVP position. He is my favorite low-owned captain / MVP. He's my favorite option overall.
I have to say, I love Auden quite a bit tonight also. Yeah, just like that. I can't get my fill it in the plums. I just think these Tampa cheap wide receivers are a little bit too risky for me. So I'm going to turn to Kansas City, and I've been kind of hinting at it a little bit, but I got a lot of love for DeAndre Hopkins tonight. That's my fill it in the plums play of the night is D-Hop. I think that he was great when he was in his prime. He went to Arizona. He was still good with Kyler Murray, and it's tough to be good with Kyler Murray if we're being honest. He's just a different kind of quarterback. Then all of a sudden he went to Tennessee, and he looks washed up. Is it him, or was it actually Tennessee? Because Calvin Ridley doesn't look so good there either right now. Like, I still think D-Hop has something left. I think he's a quarterback's dream, a quarterback like Mahomes, knows what to do with him, a possession receiver. I like D-Hop quite a bit tonight. I think he finds the end zone not once. I think he finds it maybe twice. So that's where we're going. Let's see if we got any last questions before we get out of here. Got 2,500 left on the table. Picking D-Hop. Let's go. Yep, Carolina got to do it. Shepard or Palmer?
I think that one depends on your risk tolerance. Shepard definitely has the higher ceiling. He's got that college connection with Mahomes. Mahomes has shown he likes to target him. He also has a potential hamstring lingering thing that we're worried about. He was questionable leading into this. He's active. He's playing. And as long as he doesn't re-aggravate it, I think Shepard is the clear option. But whenever it's something soft tissue, you always have the concern that they're going to re-injure it. So if you're comfortable with the injury risk, I think it's Shepard clearly. But if you're saying, hey, I want to make sure my guy's on the field for 4 quarters, I don't want to be risking that injury, then I think it's okay to go Palmer.
Yeah, you got you mean college connection? Yeah, college.
Yeah, who did I say? I did mean Baker.
Yeah. You have anything for the people before we jump out of here? We're under that 30-minute mark.
Smash that like button on your way out of here. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and make sure you join us again on Wednesday. We won't be on tomorrow for anything. It's election night. But make sure you're back on Wednesday with us for some NBA. And then that's when the NFL content starts as well.
Guys, we appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate all the questions. Get in Discord for these last 28 minutes or so. Get some information, absorb all the information you can. Again, like TJ said, we'll be back with the live shows on Wednesday. We got a little double show for you, NBA/NFL on Thursday. We'll be running that one back again. Should be fun. Good luck in all those GPPs. Until next time, for TJ, I was Chop. Guys, we're out of here.